I'm sure you've had a million things on your to-do list. Your list of responsibilities have piled up and you think there is no way I'm gonna get all of this done unless I start right now. So you do. You get started. You work really hard, really efficiently. You pound down that coffee, get everything done. And you go to bed that night with all that worry and anxiety off of your shoulders and you sleep like a baby. Who are we kidding? You didn't do any of that stuff. You acted like everyone else. You pretended that list of things to do didn't exist and you hid under a blanket and distracted yourself by either taking a nap or watching YouTube, probably this video. Hi, my name is Lisa. I am a speech-language pathologist, adventurer, aspiring writer, avid goal setter, and goal king. So if you'd like to learn how to be successful and accomplish your goals, or you'd simply like to see how I get along accomplishing my own goals, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and comment down below. Public service announcement, we are still in that cringe phase of content creation, but I will embrace the cringe and I encourage you to embrace it with me. Today we are talking about that common horror we all deal with, that is the procrastination demon. Where we all know we have to write that 15-page term paper, clean the kitchen before company comes over, finish that project at work. But nope, not even gonna think about it, doesn't exist. That is until the night before. We put things off until the last possible moment despite knowing we might not get it done in time. Or it won't be as well done as it could have been if you had just started earlier. More so, we then put ourselves into this overly stressed and adrenaline-ridden state just to get it all done right before the deadline. But why do we do this to ourselves? Stress is painful. And adrenaline is only fun if it's something you actually enjoy. You may then even tell yourself, I am never gonna be that irresponsible again. I'm gonna buckle down and stay on top of things. But you don't. You repeat the same mistakes over and over again. Once again, hi, my name is Lisa, and I too am a victim of the procrastination demon. I have struggled with procrastination my entire life, and it wasn't until my late 20s, early 30s that I really started to get a handle on things. Prior to this, I couldn't finish a work commitment or project to save my life. I would set and plan for goals that I just never followed through on. A million projects, half started, never completed, just a complete and total failure to launch. Whereas I found really fun things to distract myself with. Maybe I should start saving for retirement. Or I could just go on vacation to Australia. I should really go to the doctor and take care of this cough. Or I could just get pneumonia and go to the hospital. I've had all semester to write this research paper for grad school. I think I'll just write it the night before. I'll get an A, 97%. Sure, you haven't slept in 2 days now, but it seems to be a solid plan moving forward. Okay, that last one wasn't so much a failure as it was like a humble brag. But not every one of those last-minute decisions turned out all that well. But now you can start to see why I developed this mentality about setting and accomplishing goals. I got really tired of being stressed out, overworked, and sick from being stressed out and overworked. And I really wanted to enjoy the process of what I was doing. So a few years ago, I came up with this method of laying down a path to success, creating a goal system that was easy to follow, and overcoming the procrastination demon once and for all. You can get a better idea of how I create and achieve goals in the previous videos that I've put up. One is how to set achievable goals, and the other one is how to create a goal, and I will link those in the description box down below. Now, while those goal methods do really help you with preventative measures of avoiding procrastination, they don't really help you in the moment. When the black dog rears its ugly head and you're suddenly struck with a bout of anxiety or utter demoralization over the overwhelming amount of things that you have to do. And even I, with all my pretty well-written little goals and plans, still find myself every now and then succumbing to procrastination. This is why I have come up with 5 tips or tricks to overcoming procrastination. These are little things that I incorporate into my daily life that keep my mind focused, free of anxiety, and on that continued path to success. Tip number 1, make a list. My God, how many people have said this to you? You're probably rolling your eyes right now. But the way I make lists is a little different. Or a little insane, just depends who you ask. I actually make 3 lists, and the first one is just everything I have to do with no particular organization. I then make a second list of all those things that are the most important to get done to the least important to get done. Last, I make a third list where I organize items from what I assume will take the least amount of time to complete to items where I think they'll take the most amount of time to complete. This helps me get a better idea of what I'm dealing with. Sometimes putting these tasks down on paper helps me visualize myself completing these tasks, and it presents a more tangible pathway of what I should get done first. For example, I may not do all the most important tasks first. I may do one important task that takes a long time, followed by a less important task that takes a short amount of time. I may even start with a less important task that takes a long time and then move on to a very important task. And mixing things up like this actually makes me feel like I'm accomplishing something. I'm checking them off my list, and that list is getting smaller with each thing that I complete. And more importantly, I'm not stressing myself or burning myself out by trying to get all those long, important tasks completed all at once. In other words, this method helps shift your perspective towards your to-do list and gets you to a place where you can actually start working. Tip number 2, 5 minutes, 5 times. When I feel my procrastination setting in and I've already made my 3 organizational lists, the next thing I have to do is actually start working. And this, in my opinion, is the biggest hurdle to overcome in procrastination. As I'm sure many of you know, when you actually push through that pain and anxiety and you actually start working, that's when you get going. And you keep going. But sometimes you don't and you just stall. That is why I came up with this 5 minutes, 5 times method. I will start working for 5 minutes and it doesn't even have to be hard. I could be opening my computer, opening a Word doc, typing in the title of the document. And then I stop. I put the computer aside, I take a break, make some tea, watch YouTube. Just basically anything to get my mind off what I was doing. And when I start to feel centered again, and by that imagine taking a few deep breaths and lowering your heart rate, I do another 5 minutes. And I do this process a total of 5 times. On the 6th time, I push through and I keep on working for a longer period, something like 30 minutes to an hour, until I sort of peter out on energy and I need another cup of tea. But here's the hardest part to wrap your head around. What do you do if you get the ball rolling on, say, like the 3rd time? Should you keep on going? I mean, you could, but I personally don't. I stick to this 5 minutes, 5 times method because it signals to my mind and my body that there is a planned end time in sight. This isn't an endless amount of work. It will end. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are thinking, gee, this sounds like a really inefficient way of getting things done. But if we were super efficient people, we wouldn't have a problem with getting things done in the first place. And for the record, I actually am a very efficient person now because I've worked so hard in putting these methods into place. Tip 3, distract yourself. Now, this tip may not apply to everyone, but it certainly applies to me. I honestly cannot focus on anything unless I'm being simultaneously distracted. So, for example, when I've made it through my 5 minutes, 5 times method, and I'm in that 30 minutes to an hour work period, I need to make sure I have something going like white noise, make sure I have the little daily things out of my mind. So I'll put on some headphones and put on either a podcast or some music so I can just focus on what's in front of me. And weirdly, listening to somebody talk on a podcast doesn't distract me from my work. It just tunes out the other distractions. One big distraction to rule them all, pretty much. After that, I can move into a more hyper-focused state and get things done really quickly. Tip 4, go home. Leave at your contracted time and risk not getting things done. This tip is going to be the hardest one to grasp. Now, let me preface this with, I get it. I was in grad school where a professor will not think twice about ruining your career and leaving you tens of thousands of dollars in debt just because you didn't complete your assignment. This is a cultural problem and it exists everywhere. But when you are in the workplace and you do have control over your choices, you need to remember this one simple rule. Go home. Just leave. Sure, you have a pile of work to do, but work is over. If your contract says 9 to 5, then leave at 5. Things might not have gotten done, but that's not your problem. That's your company's problem for thinking they could milk another evening of unpaid overtime out of you. Now, I get that you're putting a few things at risk here. You may not make that deadline. You may be jeopardizing future promotions. You may risk getting fired. And if it's really important, sure, finish it. But I can't tell you how many times I've had bosses act like, oh my God, we have to get this done or it's the end of the world. And it really wasn't. They just wanted you to work on their arbitrary schedule without any consideration for yours. And this weird mentality really stems from a time when positions were in high demand and the economy was in varying flux of boom and bust. So employers could really take advantage of their workforce and hold their jobs over their heads. They would use veiled threats such as, well, if you're not a team player, then maybe you don't have a place at this company, which roughly translates to work at my discretion or I'll destroy you. But you know what? Right now, the economy is crap. And it's crap in a weird way that benefits you. For the first time that I can remember in my study of economics, this is the only time where the economy is both bad and workers are in high demand, meaning companies desperately need you to work. And they need you more than you need them. So set the terms of employment. Stop working when time is up. And go home. If your company is still in denial about that, let them fire you. Honestly, you'll have another job in a minute. We also live in an age where starting a company is easier than ever, so there's always that option as well. The point of this is setting boundaries is really important to reducing your stress and anxiety. And once again, the best way to do this is to put your foot down and go home. Tip 5, set a bedtime and go to sleep. This one seems pretty obvious, and I bet a lot of you are thinking, geez, I wish I could sleep all day. Me too, honestly. But this is more of a time management skill more than anything else. You really need to embrace being a toddler again and set your own bedtime. You need rest, and you need to know that having rest is okay. Some of us stay up all night tossing and turning, thinking about all the things we have to do that next day. And we think we're essentially wasting time by sleeping. But this is not wasted time. It's important for your health, your productivity, and the more restful sleep you have, the less anxious and drained you'll feel the next day. And also the better chance you'll have of overcoming the procrastination when it presents itself. You can tackle it head on with a clear, focused, and well-rested mind. Having a bedtime is important for other reasons as well. It decreases your risk of cardiovascular issues, decreases your risk of developing dementia later in life, and it regulates your hormones. I make sure I'm in bed every single work night at 9 p.m. And this is a strict boundary that I set for myself. And my friends know how serious I am about this. I once broke it off with someone who I just started dating because I told them, do not call me after 9 p.m. And he called me anyway. He wanted to have some long chat about something that was really important to him for some reason, that was kind of stupid and wasn't actually that important. And I told him, this could have waited until tomorrow. And he was like, but I just really wanted to talk to you. And I'm generally a pretty nice person, I mean, maybe not in this situation, but I did talk to him for a little bit, and I went to bed late, and it just completely threw off my sleep schedule. And I got nothing done because I was so tired. And it's more than just about being tired. This person knew I had a medical condition that requires me to get a lot of sleep so I can rest my body and just not have all these physical issues the next day, and he didn't seem to care. I mean, I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning every workday, and he knew that too. And it was just so disrespectful that I ended things 2 days later. It's just not worth dating someone who can't respect something as simple as your sleep and work schedule. And part of me thinks this was kind of like a test of his, just to see if he could break my boundary and I'd be okay with it. But we'd only known each other about 3 weeks, which is a pretty stupid amount of time to try and play games with someone. Anyways, the moral of this story is that your health comes first. Go to bed at the same time every night. Really make sleep a priority. Set your boundaries and find someone who will let you go to sleep at 9 p.m. every night and not make it seem like a personal attack. And if you do find them, let me know because I'm still looking. So just to review, my 5 tips to beat the procrastination demon. Number 1, make lists. Organize everything from most important to least important, and then the least amount of time to most amount of time. Number 2, 5 minutes, 5 times. Only work for 5 minutes at a time so you don't stress yourself out and you can get the ball rolling. Number 3, distract yourself. Find the right environment for you to help get you into that hyper-focused state so that you can keep working once you are working. Number 4, go home. Don't work for free. Put your health first. Number 5, set a bedtime. Go to sleep and save yourself the health issues. The stress from being tired is just not worth it. That's all for right now. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and comment down below. Please let me know what you'd like to see on this channel, and let me know about some of the goals that you're working on. How can I best help you accomplish your goals?